Joining us today in Seconds Out is none other than the new SA heavyweight champion, Shaun Potgieter. Welcome, Shaun.
How's it, Shaun? Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
We've battled to get hold of each other. It's taken a while for this to come together. You're obviously very busy in your personal life and business. What line of work are you in?
Air conditioning. Took the company over from my late father in 2009, 2010. And just tried to keep busy with that since then, yeah.
I suppose the big talking point with you, Shaun, is the fact that you got smashed by Keaton in your first fight. And then you came and you turned it around unbelievably and you looked in such good shape.
Yeah.
What was the weight difference between the two fights for you?
23 kilograms. That was the first time we fought I was 133 odd kilograms. Second time we fought, I was 110 flat.
And was that due to Gert? Because Gert brought you in for the second fight, right? Or was that just something you did yourself as well?
I must give the credit to Umdani there, my strength and conditioning coach. Also, Gert said to Umdani, it's better Shaun comes down with weight, because the lighter I got, the more mobile I became in the ring, moving around. And Umdani concentrated on eating plans and, trying to just keep me focused on losing that weight. But as we lost the weight, the conditioning just got better.
How old are you, Shaun?
36.
It becomes more difficult the older we get to lose that weight.
Yeah,
Was it tough for you?
I think it becomes tough when you don't enjoy the journey. When I started enjoying this journey, so everything was all worth it for me. The more results I saw, good results, the more I started chasing the results. Yeah.
That second fight with Keaton, do you think the Smith camp underestimated you a bit?
Yeah, they underestimated. They still had the same underestimating thing that from the first fight. They said with the second fight they're gonna come out and smash me, and I should start looking for a new job and things like that. But it's all the trash talk and all that.
But you can't blame them though if you look at the way the first fight went. That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
I think Keaton was just a bit overconfident with this one, thinking that he's going to do exactly the same. I had 2 years to prepare myself, so I had a choice between do I go home and stop this boxing thing, or do I pursue my dreams? Do I come back with a comeback and go to war with myself? And that's the one I chose. The hard road. That's the one I chose.
Did you always want the rematch?
Yes, I did. At first, losing that same day, I didn't want the rematch. I wasn't sure what I wanted. But getting into training in it, and I saw how Keaton was smashing all the other heavyweights, I just thought, what if I can come back and do that to Keaton? And that's the game plan I stuck to.
How did you end up getting Gert in your corner for the rematch?
So my whole journey was like a fairy tale. I was the princess that had to kiss a lot of frogs to get my prince, and I was with a lot of trainers until I met Uncle Gert, and he showed me the ropes. Gert's a very difficult coach. He doesn't just work with anyone. He chooses who he wants to work with. And I contacted him, and he said, "You know what, heat out. Let's see what we can do and put together." And once we started training, he said, "Right, if you want to be into this, you have to be all in." And then we just took off from there.
Is it a long-term deal?
Yeah. I think, to be honest, I think I've got a good 6-7 years left in me still, that I want to do something. So I won't change camps for anything. I'll stay with Gert and Umdani. They've made me who I am today, and they've made me believe in myself more than what I used to.
You say 6-7 years. What's the end goal for you?
So, Shaun, there's a thing that I believe in that say if your dreams aren't big enough, or if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. And I want to do the same that Gerrie Coetzee and Corrie Sanders did, bring a world title back to South Africa. And I won't stop till I get that. My first goal was a SA title, and I accomplished that. And with harder work now, going forward, I'd like to bring a world title back to South Africa.
And now that you're fighting on Golden Gloves, I suppose that dream becomes a little bit closer for you.
Yeah, so we haven't signed with Golden Gloves or anything yet, or for that matter. I'm with Gert, and Gert's with Boxing 5 and Colin Nathan and them. So wherever my coach thinks is the better way for me forward, I trust him with my career going forward, so he'll know what's best for me from here on. Yeah.
Do you get some boxers that are quite involved in their admin side and management side? Are you involved in all that, or do you just say, Gert, this is your department, you do it?
Yeah, no. I leave all that up to Gert, and they know in which direction to push me into. So, believing in Uncle Gert since the beginning up until this point has brought me to a SA title. So I don't have any reason not to believe in them.
Talking about the SA title, you're in a weird position now of you can't really defend it because the bill says that you can't come off a loss and then get a title shot.
Yes.
So there's no one in your division at the moment who you could defend against. So where does that leave you now?
So Gert has gone forward and he's looking for a fight for me just to stay active in for the second week in July. It's just staying active.
It's a non-title, huh?
Yeah, non-title fight, just to keep busy with. And then we're obviously waiting for the winner between Thompson and Roo to see who wins this fight in June.
And if you had a pick?
So I've sparred with Chris a lot of times before. I don't know what John Roo's all about, or I've seen him fight, so I've never been in the ring with him. So to me, that's a bit more challenging. And like everyone's seen, I like a challenge. And I think John Roo would be a proper fight for me. But either way, whichever one wins, I'll be ready for them.
Are you saying you think Jean wins that fight?
If it comes down to boxing, Chris's IQ is just way up there, boxing IQ. So if Chris will by far outbox him. But if it comes down to a brawl, I think that's where the tables might turn.
Anyone on the international scene you'd like to have a crack at?
So, I've seen Kevin Lerena fought Daniel Dubois and those guys. I'd like to work myself up to that point and, go fight those guys. For me to call myself the South African champ, it's an honor, I've always looked for that position. But if you want to be the best, you have to fight who's out there, And I'd like to fight Daniel Dubois, those type of heavyweights.
Daniel's a cracker though, huh? He can crack.
Yeah, he can crack. But I think with the right fitness in it, we can also get there.
You took a lot of punishment against Keaton and you took it well.
Yeah, it's all comes down to conditioning. And the mindset, my mindset was in a whole other place. Taking the shots from Keaton, yes, he hit like a truck. Like Gert said in the one social media thing, he said, Keaton hits like a truck. But luckily, Shaun had a chin made from the same truck. So Keaton was hurting me, say until the third round. From the fourth, the fifth round, the same shots he landed wasn't starting to hurt anymore because his power started fading away. And from the sixth round, I couldn't feel his punch, his power anymore. So the first 4 rounds was hectic for me.
Do you think his conditioning let him down a bit?
Like when Kevin sat next to the ring and next to Polane and talking about Keaton's, he said Keaton is in such a good shape and he's been training. And so I don't think that anything let him down. I think that I started breaking his wall when he saw that he couldn't stop me within 5 rounds and I was still there standing in front of him after he threw everything he had. And yeah, I think that's what pulled me through or broke his wall.
Shaun, coming back to your early days, you had an amateur career. Talk us through how you got into boxing, that whole road.
Yeah, so I was a little overweight boy in primary school, and my father, I used to cry a lot. I even got bullied at school, and my father said, "No, come, I want to push you into boxing." And I started boxing an amateur career at...
Was your dad into boxing?
Yeah, when he was younger, he used to box for Dan Bushney those years. So I started boxing for Nicky Ness in Boysons as amateur. I think I had 24 fights, 21 wins and 3 losses. And then carried on from there. 2010, just after my father's passing, he always wanted me to become a SA champ. So 2010, I went to the championships and I became the amateur SA champ. And then 2016, that's when I decided to turn professional with Anton Gilmore. Turned professional with Anton Gilmore, and I don't know, fell into bad habits. You know, running my father's business, always had money on me, friends, jewels, and all those things. You know, it just fell off the whole rail. And then 2019 decided, that's it, I've had enough. You know, my son growing up, I wanted to lead by example.
So at that 4.5 year break, you didn't box at all?
No.
You took it completely. So you had 2 fights?
Was just off.
And then took 4.5 years
Yeah,
off.
2 fights, just took off from there. And then, yeah, my son started growing up and I wanted to push him into boxing. And I said, you know, what better way to push him into boxing if I can start myself, someone that he can look up to. And that's when I went back to boxing.
And who did you join then when you went back in?
When I went back in, I started with Harry Ramachori from VIP Boxing. I was with Harry for a while, with Tommy Oosthuizen, shared a camp with him. And then things weren't working out for me there. So I left and I went to join Harold Voorbracht. Or before Harold Voorbracht
So you have been around with trainers.
Was first Anton Nel, all the SA heavyweight, yeah. I had 1 fight with him and then things fell through there. I went to Harold, was busy with Harold, and I just couldn't catch my rhythm in between these coaches. You know, it was just some days it was just breaking me off a bit. It felt like I didn't have that one-on-one connection with him. And then Elias Shabalala, I spoke to him one day, and he said to me, "Why don't you give Gert Strydom a call? I think that's the person you should talk to." And I spoke to Gert, and I think they've spoken before that. And Gert said, "Listen, I've heard that you want to join me." Said, "Come and see me." I had a couple of, I think, 2-3 weeks of training with Gert, and Gert said, "Right, this is how we're going to do it." And yeah, just went on from there.
Family? You seem to be quite a family-orientated guy.
Now, yeah. When I was young, I was a bit rebel. You know, it's... But with the family now, my daughter, my son, we've got another boy now, which is also actually still in the family, but we've adopted him. And then my wife, and the animals. It's yeah. Now it's just all about them, and this is why I do this. It's to prove to my son, you know, never to give up, and whatever comes your way, you know, always stand firm against it.
Your wife was at ringside when you beat Keaton, and you thanked her in your post-fight interview as well. She played a big role in your achievements?
Definitely. She's the one who kept me on my eating programs. Used to fight with me when I wanted a piece of chocolate or something like that. She'll try and keep me straight and narrow. Say, no, this is how you do it. Days when I didn't feel like training, she'll kick me out of bed, tell me, put your tackies on, you better start running and stuff like that. So, yeah, she's got such a big impact on my training and my sacrifices. You know, it's she's allowed me to visit different camps, moving around, going to Durban, going this way, going that way, and you know, she's just supported me through everything.
All the successful sportsmen in the world, it's, you know, that important base that they have.
100%.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on the heavyweight division internationally now? You got Fury Usyk coming up, and you got Joshua and Wilder.
For me to get there.
Yeah, well, just your thoughts on the quality and the guys that are there at the moment.
Yes. Listen, if to be honest, if any South African heavyweight wants to fight on that level, we've got a thing in Afrikaans, jy moet jou sokkies optrek. And I think to fight on that level, you're going to have to step it up, us from South Africa. I'm willing to get there. I'm willing to work hard to get there. And yeah, it's just those guys, they don't play around. That's all they do is train. And in South Africa, we don't actually have that privilege just to give everything to training. You know, some of us have to work 2 jobs just to keep head above water. Those people overseas, yeah, those heavyweights, they got all the time in the world just for training. They get sponsored so well that that's what they do as for a living.
Do you have sponsors?
Yes, I do.
Who they?
So I've got RDG, Lioko, Eastern Engine and Turbo, AJ Cranes, Good Life, Autolow. Yeah, I've got
Don't
a
forget
couple
one
of
now,
them.
you'll be in trouble.
Yeah, you see now, put me on the spot. Yeah, it's I've got a couple of them.
Yeah.
I think I've mentioned most of them. And Strix, classic and distribution, classic cars and distribution. They've all been there since the start with me. Especially Lioko, Stefan and them, you know, they some of the first ones who believed in me that time, and Uncle Rick from RDG. He's actually the very first sponsor I had coming into boxing.
He's looked after a lot of boxers, eh?
Yeah. Uncle Rick from RDG is just, and he's molded me in not in training, but in person. You know, my mindset. I used to be someone who I struggled to believe in myself. I had no confidence. My mindset was up to zero. You know, and he's worked with me mentally. He's pushed my mindset into places where I never thought I could be.
And you said earlier that you work, so you got sponsors and you work and you box. What's a training week look like for you?
Look, it's luckily for me, doing your own business and all that, I can move around with time. You know, I'm flexible. So if there's work that needs to be done, I can get my training done first and then work. Sometimes I have to go to work first and then see if I can fit in training, because, you know, it's all the clients aren't the same. They're not so lenient with work. If they want it done now, they want it done now. So then I sometimes move my training into later that day or so. But usually I get to all my training first before the work.
And you training with Gert, where's he based now?
Gert's at Pound for Pound in Duinfern.
And you live
in Brakpan.
That's a
Brandhurst.
trip. How many times do you have to make that trip a week?
Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays.
So not only the training, the sitting in the car and traveling as well. Eh?
Yeah, but that's that. We train early in the morning though. So 5 o'clock in the mornings, I'm with Rick from RDG. We train at his house, and then directly from there, I shoot through to Fourways to Gert on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So then the traffic's not that bad. And like I said, one of my sponsors, AJ Cranes, they sponsor my diesel for me. So that's also helps me a lot to get to training and all of that.
Yeah, like you said, you can't do it without sponsors, eh?
100%.
What's next for you?
Yeah, so 2nd of July, we're fighting on the big Larry Weinstein's bill. So we're looking, I've heard there's some questions about Ruan Visser, staying active with him for that fight. So we'll see.
You mean you're going to fight him, or you're going to train with him?
No, fight him.
Fight him, okay.
Yeah, the 2nd week of July. So I'd like that fight too. You know, Ruan also a while back, he called me out on Facebook, said he's coming for me. To me, I respect everyone, all these heavyweights, you know, all the trash talk they do. Myself, I'm not one that likes to talk a lot, you know, the proof is in the pudding. I'd like to get into the ring, and that's where I'll do all my talking. You know, even on social media and stuff like that, people used to phone me with Keaton before this fight. They say, listen, did you see Keaton said this, Keaton said that? I said, I don't actually care what they say. You know, it's let me focus on me now. When we get to the fight, that's when all the talking gets done.
Okay, so Ruan, but that hasn't been signed yet.
No, so that's just in the pipeline. That's who Uncle Gert wants me to fight, just to stay active. Yeah, so it will be an 8 or a 10 rounder. But I'd like that fight to happen. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because he's also got some pedigree and been around for a while, so it'll be a good test for you.
Yeah.
Different size guy as well, big guy.
Yeah, look, for different size guy, I think when I'm in there, same like Willem Nebe. You know, Willem Nebe is also that
Big
big.
guy.
He's a big guy. And I had to take out a sledgehammer to stop that guy. But I did it. And I think once you're in the ring and you want something so bad that you get power from places where you don't understand. You go into dark places, and yeah, I'd like to just, like I said, fight all of these heavyweights that's there. Yeah,
Who's been your toughest opponent so far?
Keaton, yeah, it was before Keaton. Although it was a quick fight, but JP Steenkamp used to box for him, Harold, and he also hit hard. But it was my first fight back, so I thought that was my hardest fight. But after this SA title fight, I think Keaton is by far the hardest opponent I've ever faced, besides my wife.
Yeah, coming from the East Rand there. Yeah. Lekker. Thanks for your time, Shaun. Appreciate it and wishing you all the best.
Sean, I appreciate being here, man. Thank you for taking the time to have me here.